In this video, we are going to create the basic shape for our hands. Let's go to our sculpt mode. And we are going to be using the lasso masking tool here to just mask out the bottom surface of the arm here. And then using the regular mask to just unmask the portion that we don't need. Okay, so all that we really need right now is just going to be this bottom surface here, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be extruding out our hand area from there. As you can see me masking that, and invert it and go to the move tool here, and then go to sculpt, set pivot to mask border. Let's go to the front view and just gonna move this down. So we got a little clay to work with there, and also move it forward from the side there, you can see, and unmask this and remesh this. Control R to remesh, and using the grab brush to just kind of further shape this out to make it a little wider, so we got a wider base that we could use for our hand. And kind of bulking up the hand, so we got a little bit of more volume on there. And using the clay strip brush to add a little bit of shape as it to indicate where the joint is gonna be. Okay, right here at the bottom, adding a little bit more clay at the bottom there. Right here, I'm thinking about the palm of the hand. And yeah, right here, I'm just using the clay strip brush to just add a little bit of bulk here. And there's a little bit of dip right here. It's more like a triangular shape. And push that in. And using the grab brush to kind of pull that down. So looking from this view, you should have somewhat of a rounded rectangle shape there on the surface. And I'm gonna bulk this up. Okay, and I'm gonna mask this bottom surface right here and then invert it. And let's go ahead and use the move tool again, the move brush. We're gonna have to bring this down. This is gonna be for the finger area, the fingers. Move this down a bit. And just gonna go ahead and remesh that. You go ahead and mask this area out and smooth out the edges. And then invert it. And then smooth out the edges. Let's go to our rotate. And let's use some mask border. And I can just rotate it down a bit. So yeah, just make sure you have, when you're doing this, you have soft edges here, because this part of the hand, starting from the middle finger onto the pinky finger, it's a little bit more rotated down. All right. And you're going to see that we're doing that because what's going to happen is for our hand, excuse the drawing. Yeah, for our hand later, it's this, we're going to have more of a relaxed pose. So we got our index finger, and then the rest of our finger is going to be more like this. So you got this finger, our index, and then you got the middle, and then up to the pinky is going to be a little bit more down, more relaxed. And so that's the reason why I'm kind of rotating this area out. Okay, and bulk this up. If you don't inflate this after you protrude this out, you're gonna have a hard time with sculpting. You're gonna see when you're sculpting one part of the surface is also sculpting on the other side or creating a hole. So just make sure you add a little bit of volume there after you extrude it out. And now here's going to be for the thumb area, just masking this out and inverting it and using the grab brush to just kind of pull that down. This is going to be for our beautiful thumb. And yeah, remesh it and then just using the inflate brush to just go ahead and volumize that area. And right now, we are just thinking of the basic forms of this, okay? Not really thinking too much of the individual fingers, but thinking of the overall shape. Kind of move that. And add a little bit more fat under here. Okay, so what I'm thinking of right now is I'm thinking of this shape, 1, 2, and I'm thinking of this shape right here. So just thinking about the fatty patch right now. And of course, we got a little dip in here. And when you're doing the basic shape of the thumb, you got this shape going. And right now, I'm just trying to target where the knuckles are gonna be. Once again, not really diving too much into the details right now, but just kind of thinking the overall shape of where these elements are gonna go later. And using the clay strip to slightly draw on top of the clay here, trying to indicate where the fingers are going to be later. And using the draw sharp to just carve that in. Later on, we are going to have separate fingers, but since we're just doing the basic forms, it's okay to do it all of the same mesh right now. We're going to separate these later, but we're doing this just so that we could see our overall shape of the hand along with the body. And then later we are going to have each individual finger like how it is supposed to go. Smooth that out. And then just gonna carve this in, pull that out. So just thinking of the overall silhouette really of the hand, and looking from the top view and the bottom view would be good too. So the way to do this is just to kind of indicate the separation using the draw sharp and using the clay strip to add a little bit of division with the fingers. This is a good way to do it at the beginning because we're going to be able to see how big we really want the hands to be, and right now it's extremely large. My God. Yeah. We're definitely going to have to reduce the size of the hands here. Orcs do have big hands, but I think it might be a little too big. Yeah, right now I'm just thinking about the overall shape of the hands, and then later we're going to adjust the overall size. But yeah, right now I'm just masking this portion because what we need to do is we need to rotate this. This needs to be a little bit kind of rotated. So we're gonna have this shape, and then kind of rotate down, so that we have a little bit more of a relaxed pose for the fingers. So yeah, for really every part of the body, whether it's the facial expression, the torso, the hands, these need to be in more of a relaxed state, which is going to be much better for animation. You don't want the hands to be all stiff or anything like that. So you want it relaxed, because first it's best to see your character in a relaxed state. That way you are able to target any problems that make your character look unnatural. And I'm on the scale tool here. We need to scale the hands down. Go into mask border, and yeah, it's a little too big. He looks like he has a big boxing gloves on, so yeah, definitely need to adjust this right here. Orcs do have big hands, but we cannot be that massive. Alright, so I think that's looking a little better. And as you can see, we need to adjust the wrist area. After you make some adjustment with the size of the hands, you cannot just ignore the forearm. You gotta go back and make sure everything is still okay with the forearm. And inflate this a little bit. Oh, you can see there, if the mesh is too thin, you can see when you sculpt and the one surface, it appears at the back. So just make sure you inflate it if you see that kind of result. And go ahead and just bulking up this area for the knuckles again. Thinking about where the main bony landmarks are gonna be for this. Adding the fingers here at the bottom. We just need a little bit of visual form here that we could look at. That way we could see the overall proportion of the hand. So not thinking too much about the details right now, just the overall shape. There you go. And going to add the bony landmark right here for the ulna. There you go. So this is like the main bone that we see on the wrist area right there. And you can see the bone here, the bony landmark. Okay, so we have this elbow, which is gonna be, this is gonna be the ulna bone. And then of course, we're gonna have this here, which is more of the radial bone. And we could add a little bit of indication of the bony landmark. So I kind of like to add a little bit of little bony landmark here too, but very, very subtle though. It's not going to be as pronounced as this bone here that you predominantly see around the pinky area. And yeah, we got this bony landmark here. We're going to redefine all these shapes later, but also just thinking about the shape of the overall form of the hand. You got this shape going. You got this kind of tapering down, and that's the kind of shape that I'm actually thinking about when I'm doing the basic forms of the hand there. All right, looking from the side. Let's look in the render view here. Okay, the hand's coming along. Back on solid shading. Yeah, it's looking good. Back on the sculpt mode though. You can further readjust the hand area onto the front view. Gonna go ahead and mask this part of the body using the grab brush. I think it's a little too long, so I'm gonna shorten this out. And readjust the forearm. Yeah, the overall forearm to me was a little long, including the hand area. Further adjusting this, looking from all views. We are getting there, guys.